I love it when we're jiving like this.
Absolutely.
Bopping away in the background.
Well, welcome to yet another Woman Wise podcast. I am Janine Lingenfelder, and together with my amazing co-host, Sara Haboubi.
Hi, everyone. This is amazing. Wednesday night, here we are yet again. And, our whole purpose of being here is to empower women. We want to speak to the most inspiring women in Dubai. We want to basically showcase their achievements, their journeys, their wisdom. The aim is to have insightful interviews, to have a conversation, to engage people. And, the main thing is that I really want people to have that sense of, wow, I could be like that, or that's the same as my story, or wow, I didn't even know that, to get that real aha moment. And that really helps to, celebrate people's successes and break down those barriers.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more with you. And it falls in line with our vision as well. It's to be a leading voice for women in Dubai, where we foster a supportive community that truly celebrates diversity, encourages ambition, and absolutely ignites a movement of female empowerment. And this is all done by sharing stories of extraordinary women. And we aim to truly inspire future generations and redefine what it seems and means to be a successful woman in Dubai.
Absolutely. And we are absolutely thrilled because tonight we're joined by Delroba Javaherian, who we will call Debbie. Debbie is the easy name that she goes by, so we're gonna call her Debbie. And Debbie symbolizes the spirit of hustle and heart, how she transformed her hobby and passion for coffee into a thriving business. So without further ado, welcome, Debbie. And she's drinking, is that tea or coffee?
Sorry.
Is it water? Coffee?
It's water.
On purpose there.
Hi, ladies.
Oh, awesome to have you with us, Debbie.
It's great seeing you.
No, fantastic to have you with us. Debbie, your journey, from teacher to entrepreneur, it truly is empowering and inspiring. And we've chatted many, many times. So I want people to hear your story. So let's rewind and tell us a little bit about your background in Iran and Belgium and what led you to actually stay in Dubai.
I'm going to go with a short version of it because it's a very long story. We left Iran. I was born there, raised there. We left Iran when I was 11 years old. After the revolution, so many people left the country. So we went to Belgium, which my father already had a business there. And I was there till I had to go. We went back to Iran for college. So I was back and forth between Iran and Belgium. College, married, 2 kids. And my ex-husband had a job opportunity here. So when the kids were 2 and 4, we decided to leave Iran and come here. So that was the reason we came here. I wasn't planning to do anything then. But of course, me being me, I couldn't sit still. So it just started jumping from one thing to another. Definitely, I cannot sit still. That's definitely an issue for me.
Yeah, we were talking earlier, and I was just so gobsmacked at all that I was writing down all the different jobs and businesses that you've had. It's quite an array. So you started off with English translation, is that right?
Yes, that was my major in college.
And from there, and you then set up a travel agency when you were 9 months pregnant.
Yes, that was the opening. I was 9 months pregnant. I was ready to pop. And it was a family business, and we started that. Before that, with one of the teachers that were teaching English, we opened up an English institute for second language. That was the first thing I've done. And then it was the travel agency, which it's funny, whenever I start from scratch. I had no idea what we're doing. So my dad had this thought of opening a travel agency, and we started it. I went to some courses, and that's just started. It was interesting.
I love this because you were literally saying that someone would approach you with an idea, and you'd be like, yeah, okay, let's do it. It's like and so one of the things that
it's
some
a challenge.
people say,
I like that challenge.
Yeah, because some people
Mm.
go, let's stick to what you know. Just stay with what you know. But this sounds like this would be like your worst nightmare, is to just stay with one
I
thing.
get bored. I would need that challenge. And the travel
So-
agency was it was a big challenge.
So I'm just looking through my list here. So you then, when you were here, you went into real estate.
Yeah, it was easy back then. 2003, we moved here. So selling real estate was very easy. Was not much competition going on. And
like shooting fish in a barrel, I think is the English expression.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would literally put an advertisement on Google, and I had people coming from Spain, took a flight, came over here, signed a contract, took the next flight, and went back.
Wow.
It was so easy to buy.
So much simpler.
I suppose we didn't have smartphones and all the apps and all those things as well. So whilst the internet was there,
the competition. I mean, the amount of agents was not as much as right now, so it was easier to sell. It was easier to sell.
Yeah, I know a few people. Yeah, a few people in it now. They're saying it's pretty tough out there.
It is. It's. I have friends that are in real estate, and they're struggling.
And then just because it sounds like this is just pattern, you then became the head of a jewelry department.
I did. my dad has been jewelry business. My father's family.
This sounds really fun. I want to know a bit more about this.
It was fun. It was interesting because they knew my family, my background, my family's background, not me. So they were like, "Would you like to start a jewelry division?" And it was like, "Yeah, which woman would say no to that?" So I started that. The company really helped. They even sent me to Switzerland for exhibitions to get sources. So I had the designers to design the jewelry line. But somehow that company had issues later on that they had to close down. That's when it stopped. But it was fun time, meeting all these big jewelry names. It was really fun.
Oh,
that lasted about 6-7 months.
What a journey. And it hasn't stopped. There's still more. Sara, share with us the list.
There's still more. And then you went into a juice bar business. So obviously this was your foray into the world of food and beverage.
Food and beverage. Yeah, that was the first one. And it was just an easy, a friend needed a help. And I just popped the question, would you like to be a partner? And she was happy with it. And it was a hobby. She just gotten married. She just wanted something to keep her busy. And my kids were going to school then. And I was like, okay, I might as well just kill some time. But it took 6 months and it was a busy place. I mean, in 6 months, from 5 tables, we went to 12 tables. And we had a waiting list for lunch.
Wow.
Again, location when it comes to food and beverage, of course. So the location was very good. It was an office building. So that kept us going, like, okay, we can do this now. But I had no idea. I'm not a coffee drinker myself. That even make it more interesting. I'm not a coffee drinker myself. I would rather have tea. But I had to go through courses, trainings also, to learn about coffee. And that was the first coffee shop we opened up.
Wow. Yeah, it's that saying that a hobby can be the seed of something extraordinary. And it's truly just believing in yourself from just walking in with a friend and you guys are trusting each other and all of a sudden here you are.
That was 2006.
Wow.
That is amazing.
And it's going on.
It doesn't stop there. The list doesn't stop there.
I'm not surprised.
So then you went and you joined you set up an event company.
That was after I opened the bigger coffee shop.
Oh, sorry. You had a juice bar, then you had a bigger coffee shop.
I had something else in between. Okay.
So we had a bigger coffee
shop, which it was a very good business. It was inside one of the biggest hospitals here. So that went very well for 4 years, nearly 7 years. Had some issues, so we left. And yes, then it was the event company, which it was also interesting because we're doing events here in Dubai and also doing events in London. It was a great experience.
What kind of events were you running then?
The one in Dubai was mostly business events, but the ones in London was.
Oh,
that was interesting. That was a great experience.
we missed that.
You have to repeat that. I think you have to repeat that, Debbie. We
I
missed
would
you
love
there for a
to.
second.
I would love to. That was a great experience. I would definitely just jump into it again if anybody comes to me like, "Do you want to do it?" I'm like, "Yes, I will."
And you met a few famous people.
Whoopi Goldberg, which was one of my favorite ones. We had Michael Douglas, Piers Morgan, Charlie Sheen.
Oh wow!
Yeah, these were the bigger ones. Yeah, it was. That's what I'm saying. It was a great experience. Meeting all these people. It was like, yeah, I'm not sure that's going to happen again.
I know there's more on the list, but it's really just fascinating with, all these things that you've done. And obviously you cannot sit still. From the juice bar and the event business, what really sparked your decision for opening up the coffee shop? I would love to hear that, because you're not a coffee drinker.
It was just a hobby. As I said, it was a hobby. It was supposed to be a juice bar. And then we were like, oh, it's working. We might as well add coffee to it. Now let's add sandwiches and salads. And it was selling so well. And we didn't have a kitchen. So we had suppliers. And we said, okay, we might as well have a kitchen now. So we added a kitchen to the coffee shop. And we started having daily soups, daily sandwiches. So it was like, oh, it's working. Why not? So we're just come up with ideas and add to it. But it was all a hobby. It was not supposed to be such a big business. To be honest, in my wildest dream, I didn't think it's going to go that big and we're going to open another bigger one. I didn't think so. But every time it was a successful one, I wanted something new, because I was like, okay, this one is up and running. I got the staff, I've got the manager up and running. Let's go for something else now. I still am like that. Yeah.
I was going to say, I think it sounds like the challenge is what really draws you.
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah, I would get bored really easily if it's an easy task. Or like, yeah, I can do that. Why should I? Give me something harder.
I think the fact that you opened up the coffee shop in Damac too in November 2020 is outstanding, because this is a real premise. You're actually in the premises. This is not an online business that everybody else, it's like you went analog. You actually went in to the community and, you saw a gap. What was it that made you think, yeah, this is
we moved,
this is the right thing to do?
April 2020 to Damac Hills too. And there was nothing. It was COVID. It was lockdown. Even after lockdown was finished, there was nothing close by. Everything was about 40 minutes away. There was only a Carrefour in the community center, which would go there, buy grocery. And I was like, okay, I mean, there are a few thousand people live here. Where would they get their coffees? I was like, I might as well. Why not? Let's try it. So I went to the management, and they were like, yeah, we would love to. We don't have a coffee shop. All the shops were empty back then. So I had the choice of choosing my unit. They just put the layout in front of me. Or like, okay, pick which shop do you want? And I was like, yeah, why not? And it was, I think, about probably 5,000-6,000 people living here. Now we've got about 20,000 people living here. I did approach a few people to probably partner up with. Nobody wanted to do it. It was midst of COVID. Nobody knew Damac Hills too. They were like, no, I mean, it's not worth it to invest there. I was like, okay, then I'll go with it myself. And that's how it started.
You will find a way.
They're kicking themselves now. I'm sure.
Oh, for sure.
So it's great to know, obviously, all the different businesses that you've embarked on, and the fact that most of these you literally started from scratch. You had no prior knowledge of the business, the industry. You're obviously just really an amazing learner. Then you obviously absorb huge amounts of information very quickly as well. The question, I suppose, would be, what do you think has been your biggest challenges, though? Because it's not been plain sailing, even though when you list it, it sounds like it's all just been so easy and everything else. What do you think have been some of your challenges?
My challenges were around 2017, which I had already stopped with all the businesses. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to go be an employee for an income. because I had lost some money to some investments. So I was like, okay, I'll go find something to do, but I couldn't start working anywhere else. Nobody would want to recruit me because they said I was overqualified, which I was like, I mean, I'm okay with your salary. Why would you care? But that was a hard part, trying to make the ends meet until I find something. I had family support. I was lucky I had the family support. And there were days that I was like, okay, I'm not going to get through this. I'm going to pack and I'm going to go back. There were days that were like, no, that's not going to happen. But I think there was something still driven inside me going like, no, we're going to do something. We're going to do something. I was really close to pack up and going. I think that's the biggest challenge, was going through that rough time. First of all, you get to know the people around you when you go through such rough time. You know who's there by your side. You know who you trusted, whether it was wrong or right. So your circle becomes a lot smaller. I mean, we learn from our experiences, of course.
Absolutely.
I think that was my biggest challenge, going through that rough time. It was pretty hard. And then COVID hit. So we were like all still.
Of course.
We all went through that. Yeah, I would call that the biggest challenge since I moved to Dubai.
And that's the thing, the road to success is paved with bumps. Some are very cruel bumps, but like a cup of coffee, the journey can be. Yeah, it's just like a cup of coffee. The journey can be just rewarding as the destination. And this reminds me of perseverance. This is what I'm hearing the whole time through what you're talking. You just don't give up. You keep on pushing. You didn't even know certain things, and you went and you studied, and you got to learn certain things, and you got to know how to run the industry to make it a success. And building a business, it comes with its fair share of challenges, as you've just mentioned a few. So can you possibly share?
At times, I would rather be an employee because I don't have to worry so much.
You don't have so many hats to put on.
Yeah, I mean, like, you worry about so many things. An employee goes to work, worries about what they have to do. By 6 o'clock, they just turn off and they go back home. But where you're a business owner, it never stops.
It never stops. Absolutely.
But yeah, I could never. I'm not. It's a lie if I say that I had not given up. There were days that I had given up, but I was like, no, I can't. I mean, I couldn't see myself going back home and then do what?
And do what?
Like, no,
yeah,
I gotta survive. I gotta survive.
And when we spoke earlier, I said one of the things that with what I do in NLP is one of the main questions is, what's the difference that makes the difference? And I was saying to you, when you think of people who maybe, I'm sure you've met people along the way who have just completely given up. They've hit a big bump, and then they've just gone, this just isn't for me, and they've just kind of given up. So what do you think the difference is between, how you have just had that resilience and that ability to, even if it's a really, even if you've had those low patches, to be able to really pick yourself up, and go again, start again? Like, what do you think has been the main driving force?
The support system, the right support system is one of them. Whether it's a family or friend, when you have that support system, somebody just holding you, not letting you fall, going like, you know what, I'm there for you. That would help a lot.
Wow.
And that was one of the things for me. And again, that challenge, it was like, if I fall, what's the challenge in that? I got to prove something to myself. It was never prove anything to anyone else. It's just like I had to prove something to myself, that I can do it and I will do it. If I'm going to fall down, it's going to be painful getting up again, but I'm not going to sit down again. What's the challenge in that? So I think it was the challenge that let me get up and move again.
Yeah, it's like building your own personal and superhero squad, or a lot of people say building your tribe. Having your tribe that truly supports you, that makes the journey a little bit lighter.
A little easier. Yes, definitely.
Oh, for sure. I think without support, and I think, what's been interesting for me, and I think Janine, you're probably finding it too, is because we're new to Dubai in terms of living and working here. I'm not new to the UAE, but to sort of the experience of actually running your own business and being an entrepreneur, especially a woman here. What's really amazing is, first of all, how many women there are running their own businesses. I think it's, I think a lot of people, when they think about Dubai and they think about, this area of the world, when they haven't visited, they assume that if you're a woman, you're not going to be able to do, what you want to do here. And, I just love being able to say to people, back in Ireland or, the UK, is like, actually, I've met more successful, powerful women here than I have pretty much anywhere else. There seems to be quite a kind of, concentration of that. But also it's the support that women, have for each other. There's so many networking events that's dedicated to women. And I just think that is remarkable.
I would, to be...
Oh, we seem to have a problem with Damac Hills. We lost you there.
Sorry?
We lost you for a minute. You just dropped out for a minute.
Oh, okay. Well, I would personally rather go to a female owner business for anything. I feel like we need support more, because you see people advertising it's a family-run business. You never see people saying it's a female-run business. So I would love for that to be like, it's a female-run business, to be proud of it.
For sure.
So I would personally go and try to support female-run businesses, whether it's food and beverage, retails, anything.
Exactly.
Support each other too.
But that's also the thing with a strong support system. It's a two-way street. As you grow, you can be a source of strength and encouragement for others too. It's building that circle of empowerment and a network of people who truly believe in one another, their dreams, and celebrate each other's journeys. So it's one thing that I've learned is that you have to realize that, or I've realized that I never have to fly solo. I do have someone in my corner. And I think, with everything that you do, by the sounds of it, your corner is packed with people who's just standing, cheering you on with their absolute... Yeah. And I can see that. I can hear that in your voice. And with everything that you've taken on, you've succeeded because you've had your support. And not a lot of women see that or think that they have that.
Yeah, unfortunately, true.
Unfortunately.
No, I have a good support system. I'm pretty blessed in that sense, that they've always been there, whether we're families or a close group of friends. My kids are my biggest cheerleaders. So
I believe one of your children is actually on the call. It looks like it.
I'm sure my daughter is watching. Yes.
And this was part of the conversation earlier that we had as well, which is that not only are you a woman in business, but you are a mother. And you were running businesses where, initially you probably weren't even really seeing your kids that much, because you were having to get up so early and back so late. So how did you cope with that? What was
the first coffee shop? It was an office building. So we had to start from 7 a.m. till 6 p.m. That was the opening time. And I would leave home while the kids were just getting up or they were still asleep. There was a nanny, of course, that would help. And by the time I would come back, it was their dinner time because they had to eat and go to bed early. I would get home and feel like, okay, I missed a full day with them, even after they come to school. But it didn't feel good. And it did go on for a few months. And then I told my business partner that, you know what, we don't need both of us to be there every day from 7 to 6. Let's do it every other day. So at least some days I can stay home. When the kids come back from school, I'll be there. So I think every mother feels guilty at times. That, okay, maybe I should have done more. Maybe I should have been there. I still have that guilt. Sometimes I go back like, was I there enough for them? I asked them, they said yes. Probably they're being too nice to me, but
I don't think so. I don't know your kids, but kids are generally pretty honest. I think if you ask them that question, I think, if you give them the opportunity
you ask them. I have
to share,
asked them.
and it's a good question to ask. Sometimes people don't ask that of their own children.
No,
They
because
might feel guilty,
every
but
parent,
they're afraid to ask.
every mother or father, we're not sure. I mean, the kids, they don't come with a booklet. So like, oh, this is what you got to do. So we got to figure it out
Definitely not.
ourselves.
There's no manual.
No
No,
manual.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it was, I did have guilt that, okay, I am coming back. They're already going to bed. Especially they were very young by then. But later on, when the business really picked up, it was easier to have a manager to do a closing time. But at the beginning, we had no idea what we were doing. So I wouldn't trust someone that I just met 2 weeks before to close the cashier or do the opening, which we did. And they would open 45 minutes later. So we're like, you know what? We got to be there ourselves to make sure it happens, everything goes smoothly. So it was a challenge that time, especially at the beginning. But later on, when the business was running, you have the right staff, then it would be easier to be home on time, to go to school, whether they were supposed to be picked up later. So it was easier to handle it. But at the beginning, it was rough. It was rough. But
Yeah,
I think every business owner, a woman, would feel this.
You wanted to go, Sara?
No, go on, Janine. Go on. Go.
No, I just wanted to say, success isn't just about the final product. It is about the journey, the lessons we learn, and of course the coffee we share along the way. And I love that that just happened while you were drinking your tea, because it's those moments where we really get to connect with one another, and learn from one another. And that's why the support is so important. And I love that your children are honest and that they support you with everything that you've taken on. That is really beautiful. You're very blessed in that way.
I think both of them are so much like me also.
Really?
So oh yeah, they both are.
Is that a double-edged sword?
It can be scary at times, trust me. I'm proud of them, but they're just as hardworking, and they're just go like, okay, they can't sit still. So
how could they be any different?
See themselves in me.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, that's our role model. That's what we're gonna do, which can be scary at times.
Is there anything you think you would have done differently looking back on your life now? Are there any things that you think, yeah, that definitely was maybe a bad mistake, or I could have done things, what do you think would be the main things that you would, if you could go and do it all over again, what would you change?
I think from now on, whatever I do, everything is going to be written down. Trusting handshake does not mean anything in business anymore. There were days probably did, in old times, probably my father's time, but everything's got to be written down, signed, stamped, so you have a proof. Just to shake a hand, just over a lunch or over a dinner, that doesn't work. I did lose doing that. It was it was pretty expensive lesson to be learned, but I learned it the hard way. So I definitely would have done that. I wouldn't just jump into something without having documents.
Yeah.
That's definitely something I would have done.
Yeah, that's one thing my mom...
I had to learn the lesson.
Yeah, but that's the one thing my mom always said to me is CYA. And I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say it, but cover your...
backside.
That's it. Whatever you do in life, whether it's with friends or business, in some way, just cover yourself, because one day it might hurt you. And through what you've just told us now, it was a hard lesson that you've learned.
Oh, it was. And it happened more than once, unfortunately.
You see. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I think a lot of people are going through that. Yeah.
I would imagine. Here. Yeah, I think if you've taken risks in business, I think it'd be very hard to not have had that experience, I would imagine. I think it's that thing of, if you're so overly cautious, you kind of never get anywhere. There's almost like that trade-off, isn't it? We're taking a risk, trusting, people around you. But yeah, it's a very valuable lesson, but yeah, it's very painful, but it's in both ways, both in a sort of trust way that someone's, you've trusted them and you've given them, something which is normally quite hard earned, You don't just give trust; it's normally earned. So normally, if that person, you feel like you've had that rapport, you've got that connection. But yeah, and obviously on the bottom line as well. You was talking about hiring people and finding the right staff. Is there any sort of tips that you would give to people who are maybe in that process of actually taking people on?
I've always been lucky with staff. I mean, 80% of the time, let's say, I was lucky with staff. I had the right staff. There were people that we didn't get along, staff that they would steal, staff that they were never on time. So you had to let them go. But I was usually lucky. But again, the line that you draw with your staff, not get too friendly, but you still are close to them. And not to be too strict on, because when you're too hard and strict on them, they're not going to be comfortable with you. So that is a very thin line that it wasn't. So I would never get angry with staff over small stuff. But when they see my face, they go like, oh, no, that doesn't look good. I would only explode if there's something really wrong. But it would be like, first time, okay, you did this wrong. I'm going to let it go, but it's not going to happen again. So I always try to keep that line. I make them happy. They keep me happy. It's a thing going on. There's a loop going on. If they're happy, they're going to have the customers happy. The customers are happy. I'm happy. So I think, of course, you should be very lucky with staff. But again, how you keep that relationship with your staff. I don't believe the employers that they're very tough with staff. The staff won't be happy with that. They want to feel comfortable working somewhere. They work from morning till evening. So they need to be comfortable.
Exactly.
I've had staff past 14 years. They're still with me. I'm proud of that. That's
amazing. Yeah. Jinx. Despite all the challenges, Debbie, you are still thriving, and with your business in Damac Hills too. What's your future aspirations? What's your future aspirations at the moment?
Can you tell us?
Are you allowed? A few. Yeah, I'm not going to give you details though, but there are a few businesses in the pipeline. Talking to a few investors. I've got new ideas. Dubai is a very saturated place with everything. So I had a few people, which actually they approached me also. New businesses coming from Europe. So I'm hoping that will work out soon.
That's amazing.
End of this year, beginning of next year. So yeah, we're talking.
We'll have to we'll get you back on. We'll get you back on so we're all dying to
I was about to say, yeah, we already got someone for next year to chat about what happened and how that journey went. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, hopefully that will work. Yeah. Because the Damac Hills too, it's been running by itself now. I mean, like, I've got a great staff again. I've been lucky. So I need a new challenge.
It's funny that you keep saying
new challenges. Come on.
But it's funny that you keep saying that you're lucky with staff. I actually don't believe that. I believe that it obviously it's the way that you treat them and it's the way you communicate with them. And obviously maybe even pick them in the first place, that you have maybe a good kind of judge of character with someone when you first meet them.
I have. I've been told that I do have a good judge of character. And again, how I treat them, they're very happy. I have my old staff from 17 years ago. They're still messaging, asking if I'm doing anything. They want to come work with me.
Wow.
They say, we're comfortable with you.
That's a testament to you.
Yeah. So with that being said, again, the staff that I have here, they've been with me for years. So yeah, it's running and looking for new challenges.
So it's interesting because obviously you've run mostly your own businesses.
Yes.
So in terms of actually being on the receiving end and having a boss, that probably hasn't happened too many times in your life. Would you say that's kind of true? Is it mainly?
It's true. Yeah. When I was in Iran, when I was teaching, of course, I was employee of an institute. And then when I moved to Dubai, the real estate and also the jewelry business, I was also an employee. But after that, no, I wasn't.
Because sometimes
I'm
they
not sure how
say,
it's going to feel.
yeah, often they say, your first boss actually molds you in terms of how you are, how you become a leader. Whether you want to be like them or you want to be the complete opposite, it doesn't matter. They're going to have an impact on you in some way.
Now you're saying that, my first boss in the English Institute, he was my role model. I learned everything from him. To be honest, I never thought about it till right now. I learned a lot from him. That's when he approached me after nearly a year of teaching. He approached me and said, would you come and help me start an institute? And I was like, yeah, okay, why not? He was a great teacher. He was a great teacher.
I love that.
We had a guest on who was talking about so Louise Towler. She was talking about we're always focusing on who threw Jack in the Beanstalk and the beans get thrown out the window, and she's like, everyone always talks about who threw your beans out the window, but the real question is who gave you those beans in the first place.
I love
so
that.
I'm always curious where people get that. See, I told her I would steal it and I would use it forevermore.
And you stick to it. But it's true. It's really true. It's a big impact, and I don't think that those people always realize that. And I love it when people see other people's hidden talents, because we sometimes don't see it in ourselves, and it's discovering those strengths. When we pushed outside of our comfort zone, sometimes it sparks that new passion, or it reveals that new talent that we didn't see. So I think this leads to my question, Debbie. What advice would you give to someone who wants to turn their hobby into a business?
Oh, wow. Do not give up.
Question.
Do not give up. It's going to be hard. There's going to be a night you're going to be sitting crying, like, how I'm going to make it tomorrow. Do not give up. It will get easier, but over time. But do not give up. And ask the right person for help, for advice. Because when we go through rough time, we just throw the question here and there, ask advice. And not everyone is a right advisor. I've had people telling me, like, seriously, I mean, like, it's not working. Why did you close it down? I had people telling me, why did you open in Damac Hills too? I mean, nobody lives there. Nobody knows the place. Talk to someone who's a great advisor. Let them coach you. Let them help you.
I love that.
Someone with empathy, definitely.
Yeah.
But I always think of when someone goes, yeah, but Damac too, it's all the way out there. It's like, yeah, but so was the Arabian Ranches when it was first built. Oh, yeah. And people said, who's going to live all the way? Now it's like in the middle of, like, it's in the middle of everything. So you've got all these.
I used to live in Arabian Ranches. So when the first time I went years ago, of 2000, probably 7, there was nothing there. There was nothing there. We had to drive from Arabian Ranches to Mall of Emirates to buy milk or bread.
Oh, wow.
So there was nothing. And when I saw the house back then, I was like, who's going to live here? I'm like, really? Who lives here? And then we ended up going there. And look at it now. I had people telling me, like, oh, I would invite people to come for dinner. We're like, no, we're not coming all the way to Arabian Ranches.
Now they're saying,
and I heard about Damac Hills too.
Yeah.
People making fun of me, going like, oh, no, we're not coming. Oh, we're not. This is too far away. But that was a year ago. Now people know Arabian Ranches. So it's, I mean, Dubai is getting bigger, it's getting wider. So it's a new Dubai,
you never know. You never know where the new center is going to be, really, of the expansion.
It's still
so
expanding.
Fast and so quick.
Still expanding.
Very true. When you said, the advice that you gave is to not give up. I think with that also comes the acknowledgement that it's going to be difficult, and also embracing the challenge. Or challenges that comes with not giving up, and really to choose to keep moving forward one step at a time. And I think the one thing as well is to have faith in yourself. That's a big thing, because I don't think
at challenges as a lesson.
Yes.
So you said, okay, that's a challenge. It was hard, but I learned from it. I'm not going to do that. So learning from your mistakes. And I think I'm saying it now. Probably I didn't say it 5 years ago. Even though I was doing the mistake, I was not learning. It took a while for me to learn.
No, it's only hindsight is 20/20 vision, isn't it?
That's it. That's it. Yeah, I think it's that one thing to not stop believing in that in the power of yet. It hasn't happened yet.
Exactly. And everything's going to be okay. Everything is going to be okay. Yeah, nothing. It's one of my favorite sayings is that this too shall pass. If it's a bad time, it will pass. If it's a good time, it's all going to pass.
It's also going to pass. Yeah.
So it's not only about the bad times. It will pass. Eventually it will. It might be really painful, but it will pass.
So it sounds like you're quite good at kind of obviously when you're in the middle of something, when anyone's in the middle of something, you're in it and you're feeling the emotions and your confusion's going on and everything else. But it sounds like once you're through it, you're pretty good at letting go. You're not kind of holding on to sort of resentment or kind of kicking yourself and things like that.
I learned that too. I learned that also recently, because I would stick to it. There were like the hard times, I would still go back to it. But right now it's like, again, I learned the lesson. This happened for a reason. I was there, but look at where I am right now. So try to see the positive. It's hard to always stay positive also. With everything that always happens around you, it's very hard to stay positive. But again, what's the point of just thinking like, oh, it should have. I should have signed that paper. I shouldn't have trusted that person. I'm not going to get anywhere with it.
I have a good little trick with that one. So I'm going to share that, because I think for a lot of
I'm going
to share it. Yeah, I'm not going to keep it to myself. Well, two things. One is my mum's just put a quote there saying, my younger brother, his basically what he says for pretty much everything is, it'll be all right. It'll be all right. And it always is. It's amazing. So thanks, Mum. She's watching. So we've got family watching here. But with that thing of looking back and or even like if you're in something and you're going, it should be this way, or it should be that, or that person should be behaving this way, or shouldn't, it's just to change it to could. I could have signed that contract. I didn't know at the time that it was going to cause. I could have done. I didn't. Kind of okay. Now I know. I can let it go. But when we say should, the word should has so much judgment in it. It's laden with judgment, and it's laden with kind of blame and feeling blame and shame.
Oh yeah, I've blamed myself so many times over the things that I could have and I should have, which I didn't.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda.
I have blamed myself. There's still times that I go back to it, I go like, oh, could have done that. I should have done that. But again, I'm not going to get anywhere with it. But yes, there's lots of blame and shame in it. I have blame and shame myself, and I've done it to others. They did that to me. They shouldn't have done that to me. But I had to learn somehow. I will never do that again. Lesson learned.
I think it's quite interesting, because when you look on, I like words, and I like to see what words people are using to describe what they do in their profession. And if you look through LinkedIn's a really good kind of gauge of the kind of the buzzwords, what people are kind of latching onto. And the one that I'm seeing the most at the moment is actually resilience. That people are helping people with resilience, and I think that is, for me personally, a much stronger, more powerful word than well-being.
Love that. Yeah.
I don't know if you guys would agree with me.
Yes,
I do.
I've never thought about it. Now that you're saying, yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Hearing it out loud, it's like you're actually quite right.
Because when you focus on well-being, it's like in the moment, how are you feeling? It's like right now, if you were to gauge, from 0 to 10, 0 is like, the worst you've ever felt, and 10 is like the best you've ever felt. Where are you right now? That fluctuates, that changes. And we can't live our lives based. Changes with every minute sometimes, within something, you could get a phone call or a text message and your mood is completely changed. But as you said, this too shall pass. It's going to rise, it's going to fall, you're going to move past it. But resilience is something that, you can't give to somebody. We'd love to give resilience to our children, for example. We'd love to be able to shove it in them.
Built in.
Yeah. But you can't do it unless you go through something. So all of these challenges that you faced, They must have literally, built that muscle of resilience,
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Definitely.
I'm a completely different person I was when I moved to Dubai.
Mm-hmm.
With everything that happened, ups and downs, challenges, happy days, sad days, angry days. I mean, like, it just went fluctuated up and down. I'm a completely different person, and I'm proud of it. I love who I am right now. I think I'm a lot stronger. I have more empathy and sympathy towards people. And again, you learn that throughout the years. It builds the character. It builds a character. I was hoping I learned this long time ago. It took it time.
Yeah, in our conversation earlier, because I hadn't met Debbie before today, so this is our second conversation today. I love it. The first one was meant to be like 15 minutes. We were on for like an hour and 15 minutes. I think we could talk all day. But I think that whole thing of these are all the lessons, and it would be great, wouldn't it, to kind of go, okay, I'm done now. I'm in my 50s. This would be a great time to just kind of be able to sit back on my laurels.
Enough.
I just don't think that's the way. I don't think that's the way the universe works. I think.
I wish it did.
Yet again, there's no manual, right?
Yes.
Debbie, you one of your sayings is be someone's sunshine where the sky is grey. Compassion makes the world a better place. Now, my question is, who was that someone in your life?
Wow. There are a few people that they did that. There are a few people that really picked me up when I was down. And that's when I learned empathy and sympathy. Not that I didn't know about it, but it made me go like, okay, I needed it and it was given to me. So I should be there if somebody needs it. I love that saying. I love that saying because you never know what people are going through. You see people smiling, but you never know what they're going through. So the only way that you can brighten their day is just to be there for them. Just make their day sunny. I'm all about giving positive vibes to others. I cannot do that for myself so many times. Help myself up, but I'm pretty good at doing that for others.
I'm sure by doing it for others, it also. I always think, if you're helping other people, it always lifts you up too.
Oh, it does. When I see that they thriving, it just boosts my mood. Also, going like, okay, I was useful. I've done something. It does. It definitely makes me feel better. Definitely, and I think it shows because lots of people come and sit and they talk to me, and they just
you sell coffee. Well, hey, you sell coffee. Like what?
Yeah. What did you expect?
Let's have coffee. And they talk, and I love it. I love it. I love listening to them and just be a listener, because sometimes you can be a listener and that would be a help to someone. Lots of people do not even have that support to just talk to someone without any judgment.
Actually, when you think about, opening up a coffee shop is more than just selling coffee. It's a place where people can meet. It's something. It's a community, resource. And as you said, there was nowhere for people to go and get coffee. So I think it must have been such a lifeline for so many people, especially at that point. This isn't just about coffee. I mean, I love coffee. I always say my very first cup of coffee of the day is my little cup of joy. I don't like anyone to interrupt it. So.
I think that's how it started with our first coffee shop. People would come and sit there. They were like either on their breaks in their offices or breakfast or their meetings. And because we started with 2 staff only. We were a small coffee shop and the owners were there every day. So we would serve, we would clean the tables, which we were learning also. And we became friends. We became friends with them, and they became very good support team for me personally. They approached me for different businesses. And you could see people would come and sit alone, have coffee, and they weren't right. So a free cake would just make them smile.
So this is so much more.
I love that.
And if
I
you look at
love
all the
having that
businesses
interaction.
and all of the businesses that you've started and you've run, pretty much most of them are about, what people get from that business.
Yes.
This isn't just about what you get, because you're running it. And I love that pattern that you can see running, that thread that's running through, what
No,
you've
I
done.
love this interacting with clients. I would like, even right now, I mean, Janine knows, some ladies would come and have coffee. I would get their number, add them up for a coffee meetup. So I loved having that relationship. But it started all from the first coffee shop, which it was perfect. It was small, it was cozy. And that was okay. I love this business. And the next one was inside the hospital. So we get to know the doctors. We would sit, we'd talk to them about what they've done, where they studied. And it was just, I love this thing. I love this thing. And I love it that people pass by my coffee shop right now. And they would even call me when I'm sitting there and they just wave.
Yes.
It just feels great knowing that you know them and they respect you. To the point that they will pass by, say hello, just come to my table. Hi, Debbie, how are you? How are you today? I love that. I love that interaction.
And I think it's also nice.
We'll talk together.
I was just thinking that, it's always nice to have those people that were with you from the start, because they were with you from the start, and they are seeing how you've grown. And how much the coffee shop is actually making a massive impact on the community, because it's almost an escape room for them, And I see that. I also go by the coffee shop. I mean, I know some of your girls now. When I walk past and they greet, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they're so amazing. They remember my face, and it makes you feel like a VIP person. And that's the magic, I think.
That's another thing, that you want your staff to be so welcoming. The staff know some of the drinks of the people who come in. So they just come in and they say, oh, this is what you want. So that's a great example of a good staff, that they have the interaction. And I always tell them that if you make them happy, they will come more often here. That would make me happy. I'll make you happy.
It's a beautiful circle.
It's a circle. It's a circle. And they know that. And again, they try their best to make everyone happy. Of course, there are always people who might not be happy with something, which is fine. Everybody have their own taste. But I make sure all the coffee shops that I had, that the staff are welcoming to the clients. Again, I was lucky again.
Yeah.
I still consider myself lucky.
I don't think you could have run a successful business without that attitude, without that.
No, definitely not.
Which of the businesses that you've run would you say you had absolutely 100% the most fun? Like, that was the one that you just like. It was.
I think the first one. The whole businesses. Travel agency was really fun. It was starting from scratch. I was very young also. I was 28. So I was young, pregnant, but it was a great challenge. I loved it. It was fun. And again, it was run by family. So it was, again, I had a family around. So I love that one. Over here, the best one was the first coffee shop. It was like our baby. And the reason we had to close down, it was a recession in 2008. So our sale from, let's say, 6,000 per day became to 600 dirham per day.
Okay.
Sure. Okay.
Offices, they were laid off. And we didn't want to let it go. We were paying rent and we were not making money, but we didn't want to let it go. It was our baby. It was our first coffee shop. And we had grown. People started getting to know us, coming to us for businesses. Our next business was actually from one of our clients. So that was the best fun I had. I met greatest people I'm still in touch with. So that was it. Probably was the first one, and from scratch. I was learning a lot through that. Probably that's another reason.
Well, I'm curious to know what you're going to do next. I think it's going, whatever it is, it's going to be. Obviously, you're going to bring everything that you've learned.
You would know. You'll be the first to know.
Ooh, that sounds awesome. No, I laughed at you.
One last question from me, which is, if you could give your 18-year-old self some advice, what would it be?
Oh, there's so many things I want to tell her.
Don't do this and do that. You only had one piece of advice.
Stand up. Yeah, stand up for your right.
Love that.
Yeah,
powerful.
Yeah, don't let anyone make your day gloomy. Just stand up for your right.
I like it.
The rest will be okay.
Actually,
I would say one more thing. I would say everything's going to be fine.
It'll be all right.
Yeah, I was about to say what your brother says. It will be all right.
It'll be all right.
Yeah, it will be all right.
It'll be all right.
I wish I would have, again, I could have, I should have said to myself, everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be all right. Yeah.
Your story is powerful, and your passion shines through. I mean, as you just say the word challenge, your whole face it's just smile from ear to ear because
it lit up when you were like, I love that. It's like scratch, I didn't know anything. It's like
I love that. And with your whole attitude, it's just anything is possible. So from my side, I mean, we almost coming to the end of this podcast. I cannot believe it, Sara. Debbie, can you believe it?
You went pretty fast. I don't believe it's already 1 hour.
Did you have fun? I know you were a bit kind of, you're a little bit nervous about coming on.
Yes,
like, I've not done this before. And I was like, we just want to pull everything out of you. But
you two are so easy to talk to. You both are very easy. I mean, I had coffees before with Janine, so we met more. With Sara, it was the first time, but it was so easy to talk to today. That's why a 15 minutes call went to over an hour.
I was like, I don't think tonight's going to be a problem. I don't think we're going to run out of anything to say. That's definitely my feeling. Yeah.
I love
Thank you
I love
for having me, and it was great. You guys are just great.
Oh no! Well, look, we couldn't do, as we've said before, without great guests. It'd just be Janine and I talking to each other. You know, whilst that'd be fun, I don't think other people would necessarily want to listen to us two droning on.
I know at some point that I don't have much to say, but it seems I had a lot to say.
I told you.
It's not a lot to say. It's a lot of worthwhile, amazing wisdom, which is exactly, what our audience, love about this show. So, looks like we are coming to the end of our hour. I can't believe it.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. Debbie, thank you so much for being with us as a guest, sharing your story and your journey. And we are on the edge of our seats to know and see what you're going to be up to. And I think with all of this that you've shared with us today, I want to just remind all the ladies out there that with hustle and heart, you can achieve anything as long as you don't give up.
Absolutely. And so what is the name of your coffee shop down in Damac Hills?
Right now it's Atibasi.
Atibasi. Okay.
Yes.
Awesome.
We'll see you
so
ladies
everyone has to
there
get down there and get yourself a cup of Java. That's exactly what you need to do. And
come over, let's have a chat.
Yeah, let's go and have a coffee club. Let's set it up. We'll meet down there. And speaking of coffees, to all of our amazing listeners, thank you for being here with us live, and those who've tuned into the recording. And if you have enjoyed this podcast, we would love if you could help us out. We have a Buy Me a Coffee link. So just for the price of a cappuccino or a latte or even a matcha tea, you can give us a dig out because we want to take this podcast bigger and better, and we need your help to do that.
Absolutely. So yes, this is it, the end of this podcast. Once again, thank you so much, and remember, stay wise.
Thank you, Janine. Thank you, Sara. It was
Thanks,
great
Debbie.
chatting with you girls. Bye.
Cheers, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.